Okay, so we're talking about noun clauses, and this is the idea that sometimes a clause can act as a noun and be the subject of a sentence. So here's my example sentence. What I want for dinner is pizza. Okay, sounds okay, right? It may be a little awkward, but it's grammatically fine. Well, what are the clauses here? Like, I want to match subject and verb, right? So I have I want. I want is a clause. I, subject, verb, want. There's a clause, but then I have another verb here, is. And the key principle here is that when you have a question word such as what, and you follow that with a clause, what I want for dinner, this whole clause, that clause can function as a noun. Okay, so this whole thing, what I want for dinner, is just a noun. And because it's a noun at the beginning of a sentence, heck, that's a subject. So what I want for dinner is the subject of the sentence. And the verb is describes the subject, or is the verb for the subject, what I want for dinner. So what I want for dinner is the subject, is the verb. What I want for dinner is pizza. And I could have just said what I want is pizza. I didn't have to throw the for dinner in there to make it complicated, but what I want is pizza. Okay? So, any kind of question word can begin a noun clause. Whoever did this is in trouble. Why she puts up with him is beyond me. I know. What do I know? And look, it's not at the beginning anymore, it's at the back. I know you. I know him. I know her. I know John. I know what you want. So what you want is the noun. That's the object of the verb know. I like Coca-Cola. I like burgers. I like how he tries so hard. Okay, so it's not just question words. The one thing that you can add in addition to question words is the word that. That can also signal a noun clause. Okay, so that you are smart is not being questioned. There's the subject, that you are being smart. Where's the verb? It is. I know. What do you know? I know that you are tired. I know that you are tired. So, question words and that can signify a noun clause. Note that a noun clause is always singular. So whoever did this is. You use a singular verb for a noun clause, okay? Final point here. I promise, it's a final point. You can often drop the that. So instead of saying, I know that you are tired, you can just say, I know you are tired, okay? We say it all the time, but it's grammatical. So you may ask, is that allowed? If I see that in the SAT, is that okay? And the answer is yes, it's fine. Okay, so anytime you want to just insert a that in a sentence, not a problem. Okay, so since we learned that rule, or that rule about noun clauses, we can now apply it to this question. So again, pause if you need to, read the sentence, try to analyze it, and then pick the correct answer. Okay, so whether the green team can avoid losing these two important games depends on each member's ability to stay alert. So as we look at all these different options, you'll see first of all that, is it whether the green team can avoid losing or whether the green team can avoid to lose these two important games. So off the bat, this is what we call, a prepositional idiom. And basically, which one is the correct thing? Do you avoid doing something or do you avoid to do something? And D and E are incorrect. We never say you avoid to do something, you say avoid doing something. So I'm going to be left with A, B, and C. And prepositional idioms I'll cover in a later lesson as well. So don't worry about that. I just really want to focus on the noun clause here. Okay, so I'm choosing between A, B, and C. So they look pretty similar, except I can see that C is no good because I don't have a verb for the subject. Whether the green team can avoid losing these two important games, if I look at C, I had the subject team and I had the verb can avoid. But that was part of this noun clause that began with the question word whether. So whether the green team can avoid what? Avoid losing these two important games. That whole clause was a noun clause. It began with whether. And that's the subject. So I need a verb for that subject. But in C, I never have a verb. I just have depending on each member's ability to stay alert. So there's a problem there. No verb. C is incorrect. I'm left with A and B. They're identical except that A has depend and B has depend. This is a subject-verb agreement issue, and again, we'll cover that in a later lecture. But Remember, the noun clause always acts as a singular subject. Hence, we have to have a singular verb. In this case, it's a depends. And you'll learn more about that in the lesson on subject-verb agreement. Okay? We discussed a lot of concepts in this lesson. Please always come back to this lesson when you get a question wrong due to it being a fragment. Now come back, review it, see why it's a fragment. But this is the kind of thing that just by doing problem sets and always trying to identify the clauses as you read the answer choices, you'll really master this and quickly be able to identify why harder problems have issues.